I founded DASH to ensure that domestic violence survivors, regardless of their circumstances, had access to a full range of housing options, and to create more alternatives than there were at the time. Additionally, we wanted to ensure that victims didn't have to become homeless just to become safe from violence in the first place. Since then, through our model, partnerships, and example, we've helped change how safe housing is operated throughout the district, and we've helped hundreds of survivors find a safe place to call home. Our motto is "Home means safety." It reflects our primary objective at DASH, to help all survivors of abuse have a safe place to go to reestablish their lives on their own terms. We work on 3 fronts to accomplish this. The first is to increase the amount of safe, affordable housing available. Secondly, we facilitate access for victims to housing options across the spectrum. And finally, we strive to prevent homelessness through targeted support and resources. Home means safety. DASH functions at the nexus of domestic violence and housing. When more and more survivors are facing homelessness due to limited economic resources and a growing lack of affordable housing, our service philosophy and programs were built on the most promising practices in the field and developed into an innovative model that serves victims with multiple needs and has been recognized locally and nationally. Our programs are effective because we take the broadest yet most individualized approach to the work. Through our low-barrier voluntary services, we help victims who might not otherwise be eligible for housing, including those with chemical addictions, mental illness, immigration issues, and the like. We use a similar approach by collaborating with our community allies and advocating to create options and access to safety for survivors in every way possible. We know that we're making a difference to the women and children we serve because they tell us. In client surveys, progress assessments, and exit interviews, they let us know how much safer, more self-confident, and empowered they feel. Additionally, we see it in the successes they plan for and accomplish while in our programs. In fact, DASH is working with national researchers and technical assistance providers to develop cutting-edge techniques to demonstrate the impact of our programs. We don't generally screen out victims from entering our housing, and we don't mandate services when they're with us. So we often get questions about how we maintain safety in our programs while taking such an unstructured approach. Through the combined use of our model and our organizational structure, we ensure safety in our programs and autonomy for the victims we serve. It's a flexible, nuanced method for providing housing with dignity and compassion, and it's the part of DASH that's most unique. Our organization has set new standards for safe housing in the district and nationwide. DASH has consulted for federal agencies, including the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the U.S. Department of Justice, as well as provided training to national, statewide, and local housing and domestic violence organizations. Additionally, in April of 2012, I was honored to be invited to contribute to a White House forum on women in the economy with President Obama and the U.S. Attorney General. Our greatest challenge in recent years has been creating and sustaining housing options quickly enough to meet the escalating need. As victims time out of crisis shelters and desperately seek longer-term options, Dash has seen an ever-growing demand for services. This, compounded by the failing economy, budget cuts, and the loss of affordable housing in the city, creates a triple whammy for Dash and the families we serve. We're committed to finding new and creative ways to meet the need and help families. The Survivor Resilience Fund is our most recent initiative to ensure every home is safe for victims of domestic and sexual violence. We help families avoid homelessness as the primary option for living free from abuse by providing emergency financial support to help them stay in permanent housing and out of the shelter system. It's the most efficient, cost-effective means to help these families, and additional resources would dramatically increase the number of survivors who are safely housed. One gap that persistently stands out is the communication and collaboration between domestic violence organizations and housing providers. Programs tend to work in isolation, often trapping victims in dangerous situations with nowhere to go, essentially stuck between abuse and a hard place. If we could provide broad-based training and technical assistance to help providers seamlessly and sensitively work with survivors to get and keep safe housing, then victims would have more options and Dash would come closer to meeting our mission.